Well, we'd like to alert our viewers that today's subject matter may be sensitive to younger audiences. Now, from a young age, women learn about their bodies in a multitude of ways: self-exploration, conversations with friends, and perhaps the most daunting of it all, the internet.
And while the internet can be a helpful tool for research, it's always best to consult with your primary care provider to address common misconceptions. And joining us today to discuss Lady Parts Fact or Fiction is Dr. Hack. Dr. Hack, thanks so much for joining us again.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so let's get started. Fact or fiction? Women should start getting pap smears when they become sexually active.
It depends. That could be a fact, that could be fiction. So we recommend that you start getting pap smears at 21 years old, and that's whether you're sexually active or not.
Okay.
Okay, and then we want to know some clarifying questions here. Like, what's the difference between vulva and vagina? Are the two interchangeable?
I am so happy that you
I'm
asked.
embarrassed I asked, but hopefully we're serving somebody watching today.
We are, because people use them interchangeably all the time, but the vagina and the vulva are not the same thing. So the vulva is what you see if you were to take a handheld mirror and look between your legs. And the vulva encompasses what's called the mons pubis. It's your pubic bone, that area, the opening to your urethra where you pee, the vaginal opening, the labia, there are outer labia called labia majora or big lips, and then labia minora, little lips. They're the thin ones that you can kind of see and are stretchy. And then the perineum, which is the space just behind the vaginal opening. And then the vagina is just the tube-like structure, the muscular tube-like structure that connects the cervix and uterus to the outside world.
Mm-hmm. And so should you clean anything, use anything to clean your vulva if it's just water, or can you use other things like, you know, the soap that you can buy at the grocery store?
I love that you're asking this. Because there are so many things that are marketed to us, right? If you go down the aisle to clean your vulva or clean your vagina, but you don't need to put anything in your vagina. For your vulva, it is just, all you really need to do is just clean away anything that's on the outside, like any dry discharge or sweat, anything like that, with water. Warm water, that's it. You could use a mild soap or a mild cleanser, but you really don't have to.
Interesting. Okay, now let's talk about menstrual blood. What is it, and does it contain toxins?
That's a great question also. And then in a lot of cultures, there's a thought that it does contain toxins, but menstrual blood is just the lining that builds up every month during your menstrual cycle to prepare for you maybe having a baby. If you don't have a baby, all of that lining, which is just blood and cells and tissue, it just comes right out. And that's all menstrual blood is. It's just blood, a mixture of cells and tissue, and that's it really.
And sticking on the topic of, you know, being on your period, can you get pregnant while you're on your period?
I'm loving all these questions. You can. And that's
Really?
something that, yes, you really can.
Yeah.
It depends on how long your menstrual cycle is. So an average menstrual cycle, you hear us say 28 days, right? And a birth control pack, they're often 28 pills, because that's a regular menstrual cycle length or a typical cycle length. If you have a short cycle and then you ovulate earlier, then it just depends on when you have sex, because sperm can survive up to 7 days. The average number of days is 5. So let's say your period is 9 days long, and let's say you have sex on the 5th day, but you ovulate like on the 10th day. Well, you could get pregnant. Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. Okay, so going back to cleaning the vagina, there's some thought that it's naturally self-cleaning. Is that true or false?
That is true.
Okay.
There's nothing that you need to put in the vagina, no douching. I know that's something that people used to do a lot. They'd sell douches in the grocery store, or you'd hear maybe some of our aunties and maybe parents would talk about a vinegar douche. You don't need to do anything like that. You don't want to do that, because you could really disrupt the vaginal environment, the pH balance of the vagina, and that can make you more at risk for certain infections. And so you really want to avoid cleaning the vagina. Does it itself.
Absolutely. And then the last one, healthy breasts should be the same size.
There is no such thing as symmetry in the human body. nothing will be exactly the same. Your right hand and your left hand aren't the same size, your feet aren't the same size, and your breasts aren't the same size. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, Dr. Hack, thanks so much for coming in. That was
you.
a very interesting topic. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
All right. For more information on women's health and Dr. Hack's podcast, visit ladypartsdoctor.com.